Hi, Julia here. I want to talk today about backstabbers. If you have worked in a big office environment, even maybe it's a little one, you've probably come across backstabbers. Maybe you haven't been on the receiving end, maybe you've seen it, maybe you've got kids, teenagers who have been on the receiving end. So I want to talk about how you can think about the situation differently and what you can do about it. So backstabbers have one thing in common. They are insecure. Backstabbers are always insecure. Only hurt people hurt other people. They might come across as confident, but they're not. Somebody who's confident does not have to help to hurt other people. Backstabbers are insecure. It's really important to remember that. So 2 things to remember if you're in this situation, or like I say, if you've got kids, teenagers who are in this situation, you want to give them some advice. First of all, look for the feedback. This is about taking responsibility. I talk a lot about taking responsibility for a situation that you're not happy about, or you're not getting the outcome that you want. And you might think, how can I take responsibility if somebody's backstabbing me? But there's always something that can be done differently, and it might only be 5% more responsibility, but there's always something. So for example, I used to have a colleague who really well respected, really good at her job, very honest, but sometimes to the extent that it would sort of rub people up the wrong way. Always great points, always the feedback she had for people was always justified, but the delivery was sometimes not ideal, and like I say, that would just rub people up the wrong way. So is there something that you could do differently delivering a message if the message is rubbing people up the wrong way? When I was when I'd been a manager, years ago, when I first started to be a manager, I had to very early on learn that I needed to get better at small talk. I needed to get better at smiling, and it's something that you might think, well, why should I care? Why should I be different? Why should I change me? But as an introvert, I've got resting bitch face. Not all introverts have got it, but I've definitely got it. So when I'm in my head, when I'm thinking, my face looks miserable, it looks angry. So people would often say that they thought I was aloof before they got to know me. So as a manager, that's not something I want my staff to think of me. I want them to think of me as approachable. So like I say, I had to learn to be better at small talk. I'm not a fan of small talk. I'm not very good at small talk, but I learned I had to get better at it. I learned I had to smile more to make people more comfortable. So look for the feedback. You might decide there's no feedback. You might decide, well, maybe this is a bit, but I choose to ignore it. But look for the feedback anyway. Have a think. Is there something you could do differently? Maybe you've made a mistake. Maybe you've cocked up. Big deal. We're human. We all make mistakes. Learn from it. There's always a lesson in there. So the first one, when it comes to backstabbers, look for the feedback. Is there any? If there's not, great. If there is, what can you learn from it? But the second one is forgiveness. So if you've been on the receiving end of somebody backstabbing you, forgive them. Now, that's something that people will think, forgive them? When they've done that to me, why should I do that? Well, you'll have heard the quote, and I have to read it because I always get it wrong. Holding on to anger is like grasping a hot coal with the intent of throwing it at someone else. You are the one getting burned. You've probably heard that before, but forgiveness is about you. It's about you feeling better. It's not about making them feel better. They probably couldn't care less whether you forgive them or not. It's about what is best for you. It's not healthy to hold on to that anger, so forgive them. When you're up against that sort of environment, when you've got somebody who is openly hostile to you, like I say, hurt people, forgive them. Next time you come across them, just say to yourself, I wonder what screwed you up so badly. Because there is a reason for the way they are. Like I say, it's insecurity, but it's based in something that makes them unhappy. So forgive them and wonder, just get some curiosity about it. What makes them feel, makes them be so nasty to people? Just get curious about it. And a final thought, something I really like, again, I've got to read it because I just cannot remember quotes when I'm in the middle of talking, but always forgive your enemies, nothing annoys them so much. And that's an Oscar Wilde quote, and again, I really like that. So have a little chuckle to yourself, forgive them. They're just wondering why you're smiling at them, and it annoys them, and you feel better. So backstabbers, what's the feedback? How can you take more responsibility? What's the feedback? And forgive them. Hope that helps. Thanks for listening. Bye.